So first we will see the WebDriver architecture, how WebDriver works internally basically. Then what is WebDriver hierarchy? Right. So WebDriver is an interface. So we will see what is the hierarchy we have, what is the parent interface, and what are the classes which is actually directly implementing WebDriver. Right. So WebDriver hierarchy. Then we will talk about launching a Firefox browser. Right. So we have seen Chrome browser, but we will see the Firefox browser as well, because these two browsers are actually quite frequently used for Selenium automation. Then we will start with understanding the script. Right. So we will first talk about web elements. Right. So what all web elements we have usually in a web application. Then what all actions we can perform on those web elements. So action methods. Right. And if time allows, then we will discuss about locating, how to locate those web elements on a web page. So how to locate those elements. So we can use that in our script, right? So I'm not sure if any one of you having any idea about this earlier, like how to inspect element, how to locate element. Any idea? Any one of you having any idea about this?
Nitin, I know how to inspect elements.
Okay, good. You have worked on web applications also, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Naresh?
Yeah, I have some idea.
Okay, you have some idea. Okay, fine. So Tara, you have worked on web applications, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah, no problem. So let me just open the paint. So we will first see the WebDriver architecture. All right, so we have here our Eclipse, as in what all languages we are using. Then we have one protocol called JSON wire protocol. Then we have WebDriver, not WebDriver, the browser drivers. And then we have the actual browsers. Okay. So what happens when we write the code in our Eclipse, right? It could be in any language. It could be Java, it could be C#, it could be Python, right? Or Perl or Ruby, right? So Selenium does support all the languages. So you can write the code in any of the language, Perl or Ruby. Now what happens when you write the code and then you write the methods, Selenium methods, then internally the Selenium APIs are getting called, right? So those APIs are actually called by a JSON wire protocol. Okay, so we have a JSON wire protocol here. So that takes your request from your Eclipse to the browser drivers. Right? So JSON wire protocol is nothing but a key value pair, right? which takes your request and then send to the browser drivers here. And here we have several browser drivers. Let's say Chrome driver. Then we have Firefox driver. Then we have Safari. And then let's say we have Edge driver or any other. Okay. So once the request reaches to the Chrome driver, then Chrome driver is actually responsible for performing any action on the browser. Okay. Here I am having the browsers. So here I am having Chrome browser. And here I am having Firefox. Then for Safari, let's say I am having Opera browser. And then for Edge, I am having Edge browser. Fine. So basically what happens when you write the code in your Eclipse using any of these languages, internally APIs are getting called, right? And those APIs are actually hitting the Chrome driver or Firefox driver or Safari driver and or Edge driver. And this communication is happening via JSON wire protocol, right? So your request is coming from your Eclipse to your Chrome driver, and then from Chrome driver, it is taken further to the Chrome browser, and that happens via HTTP protocol, HTTP or HTTPS, right? So once your request is sent from Chrome driver to Chrome browser, you get the response, right? So that for every request there is a response from the server or from the browser. So you get the response back from your browser to your driver, and that is again on HTTP, right? And when you get the response, finally the what you see as output on your Eclipse, let's say if you are putting some assert or if you are looking for some output, then those outputs are returned back to your Eclipse. So that's how it internally works, right? So you can in interview, if they ask you like how the WebDriver works internally, so you can say it works on the basis of JSON wire protocol. Your request, whenever you are writing anything on your Eclipse, there is a API call internally, and the request is sent from your Eclipse to your WebDriver, Chrome driver or Firefox driver or Safari or Edge. And finally, that Chrome driver is taking care of doing operations on the Chrome browser using HTTP protocol. Okay, so that's a pretty simple architecture, I would say. Anyone can understand this, and most of the people fail here. I mean, they do not know how it works internally, right? So it's just two things: JSON wire protocol and HTTP protocol. Understood how it works internally?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
you can just make a note of this. So now we will talk about WebDriver hierarchy. Basically, WebDriver is an interface. So we talked about web interfaces, right? During Java classes. What is interface? Remember?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So WebDriver is an interface. So we have a parent interface for WebDriver interface, that is your search context. Search context. Right. So this is a parent interface. And then we have a WebDriver interface which extends search context. Now we have one class which directly implements WebDriver interface. That is called your remote WebDriver. Remote WebDriver. So this is a class. Let me draw the class in a circle. So remote WebDriver is a class which directly implements WebDriver interface. Now a remote WebDriver, this class actually implements other interfaces also. One is one of the interfaces JavaScript executor. And other interface which is quite common is takes a screenshot. So remote WebDriver implements these two interfaces also. Okay, now we have four classes or maybe more than four, which are your browser drivers, right? So a remote WebDriver is being extended by your Firefox driver, is being extended by your Chrome driver, is being extended by Safari browser, Safari driver, and then your Edge driver. So here I have, let's say, Firefox driver. Here I have, let's say, Chrome driver. Here I have, let's say, Safari, and then here I have, let's say, Edge driver. Okay, so you understand that relation, right? When you create the object of class which points to the reference of interface, it means you can only use the methods of that interface, right? We saw that during our abstraction and interfaces concepts, right? So just first draw this diagram, and then we will talk about the possible scenarios here. The internally how it looks. So if I do open declaration, so here I am having a Chrome driver. So Chrome driver is a class, right? So you can see here a public class Chrome driver extends remote web driver, right? So that is what we saw here in case of Selenium 3.0. Chrome driver is extending remote web driver, right? And it is having its own methods, right? All are overridden methods, you can see, which are from your parent class. Parent class is your remote web driver, right? And this is the new method which Chrome driver is having. Okay, if I go one level up, then I will see remote web driver, open declaration. Then remote web driver, you can see it implements web driver, right? It implements JavaScript executor, and it implements your takes a screenshot, right? These are three most important interfaces. So remote web driver is a class which implements three interfaces. Okay, and it is having methods which are actually it is implementing. Understood? So we have a remote web driver which implements web driver as well as JavaScript executor takes a screenshot. If we go little up, then we will see a search context. So if I go to web driver, I will see one second. Remote web driver. Yeah. So web driver extends search context. So web driver is an interface, search context is also an interface. So it is extending this. Okay. And WebDriver is having some of the methods from here only, and some of the methods will be from search context. If I go little more up, then you will see a search context. Final interface is a search context. And these are all unimplemented methods here. List web element, find elements, web element, find. Only two methods are here: find element and find elements. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, talking about this line, right? When we write this line, what does it mean? Anyone can ask you in the interview. When you write this line, web driver equal to new Chrome driver, what does it mean? Can anyone tell me what does it mean?
We are creating a object for Chrome driver
Mhm.
and a reference to the web driver.
Interface, right?
Web-
Web driver interface, right?
Yes.
Disha Sitara, understanding, right? How it is
Yes.
working?
Yes. Nathan.
Okay, so instead of this, I can create an object of Chrome driver also here. Chrome driver d equal to new Chrome driver. Okay, so this is another possibility I can have. So here in this statement, I can use only the methods which are there in WebDriver interface, right? And in this case, I can use all the methods from WebDriver, from Chrome driver, from remote WebDriver, from everywhere. Now, another possibility of this could be WebDriver D1 equal to new remote WebDriver. If this takes as you will have to pass two parameters here because we use them in in Selenium grid. So some address etc. are required to be passed here. Fine. So the one possibility could be this also. Remote WebDriver is basically used in Selenium grid or running your test on your cloud. Fine. One more possibility could be there. That could be like remote WebDriver are equal to new Chrome driver. Yeah. So these are all possible scenarios I can have. Making sense, right? So here I am creating a object of Chrome driver which points to the reference of the Chrome driver only. Here I am going a level up. Here I am creating an object of Chrome driver which points to the reference of parent class. Here I am going one more level up. Remote WebDriver, Chrome driver object which points to the reference of WebDriver interface. And here I am creating the object of remote WebDriver which points to the reference of WebDriver, right? And there could be one more possibility where I am creating an object of remote WebDriver which points to the reference of remote WebDriver only. RD equal to new remote WebDriver. So this is also possible. Yeah. So just make a note of this. However, it is not will not be required as of now, but you should from concept wise you should know. Right, from why you are writing WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. What is the reason? Just make a note of this and then we will proceed further. Let me create a class here and Firefox launch. Okay. Now let me copy the code from here because a couple of things will be common. Yeah, something will change. So instead of giving a path of Chrome driver here, I will have to give the path of Firefox now. Firefox driver. So for this, I will use Gecko driver. And then .exe, and here instead of Chrome, you will have to write Gecko. And when you create object, right, you will have to create object of Firefox driver now. Firefox and then 1 second. And here, yeah, so everything else is same. So first I am setting the path, right, for the Gecko driver. Then I am creating the instance of Firefox driver. Then I am maximizing the window. Then I am putting the wait of 30 seconds. We will see about the waits in coming classes, what is wait and how it is actually making the impact on the script. Then I am actually passing the URL. I am then waiting for 2 seconds, and then I am closing my driver. So let me try running this. So you can see Firefox is launched, and soon you will see the google.com is appearing here. Yeah,